Hello, welcome back or welcome to the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. My name is Sue. I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. It is a beautiful early spring day. We will see if March comes in like a lamb and out like a lion, like it usually does. Follow those. My dog sees somebody outside, probably a dog. I'll apologize as I organize. I know, you're just talking. It's so nice to see all your friends. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about today is a finished object. You saw it last time, but I have added the buttons. I got these probably well over a decade ago. I was living in a different town even. I love it. However, remember I said that all the bunchiness up here would hopefully be fixed through blocking? Yes and no. I made it too large. I'm gonna quickly. It was so large I had to stand up. It smells really nice. Now, I was really upset. Okay. You can barely see my fingertips. I was like, oh, what am I going to learn? You need to make things that will fit you because you're spending all this time on that. So I decided that I was going to make the, I believe, 5th size or 6th size of this because my thought originally was I am going to, I'm just going to count real quick. I did make the 5th size. My original thought was I'm going to wear this over a sweater out on the playground, and I want it to be loose, which it is. I did not understand that the bunchiness here would just equate to more length down here. I mean, it's so pretty. I thought the cable, because of my past cable problems where it was too short, would mitigate some of the length. So I was a little bummed, but I do roll it up like this, and it's fine. You know, it's a 2x2 rib, so it's fine to wear it that way. And on my way to school, I was thinking in the car, well, I could just, redo my sleeves, and it'll fit better. And then I'm like, oh God, I don't want to redo my sleeves because I'm, do I want it to be long? I kind of want it to be long because I want to wear it outside. I want it to be protective. So that day that I was out on the playground, I forgot all of my extra winter gear. I had gone somewhere and I put all my extra stuff in that bag, and I didn't have it in my school bag because I use a backpack. And that day my hands were really cold, and I pulled this down out of my coat, and it kept my hands so toasty warm. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just keeping it like this. I've decided. I'm keeping it like this. It is a little large. It can be rolled up. It looks fine. My coworkers are like, you wouldn't even know you made a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes with this, even in the stitch pattern. But, I did button it because it's too big here as well. I'm not going to give too much of my body away, but my bust is around 42 inches. So 44-inch would be 2 inches of positive ease, so to speak. And then if you measure down below, I like to do the sit test. Like when you buy a pair of pants, you stand up, you sit down. 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 And then, because when you get in the car real quick, you don't have to sit there for 5 minutes trying to futz everything together. So I realized I made this one too big. I do not want my other tops to be too big. I know what my belly measures sitting down as well as my bust, because things tend to grow, for lack of a better word. So I've decided I'm going for a size 48. Now, that will come into play with some other stuff I'm going to show you, because this whole episode is about ripping it good, because I had to rip out so many things. I'm surprised in all the work I actually got done because of all the ripping I did. So, a little bit about this. I already told you about how I will tell you again. So I did put buttons on. I just used thread because I didn't have a needle small enough to fit through here with yarn. So I just used a similar color of thread. It's nice, it's fine. That was the easiest part of the whole button band. I did have to redo the buttonholes. I did them. I did not do, due to the pattern stating you needed 14 stitches between each buttonhole, it wouldn't make enough for 5 buttons. So I frogged it, and then I figured out a good placement, which was 13 stitches. So I fixed that. And I mean, overall, the blocking, I soaked it in some wool soap. I don't remember the name. It starts with an E. It's very common. It has lanolin in it. Say that didn't have fast. I let it soak for a half hour, and then I blocked it. I just laid it out and kind of, smoothed everything out. I could tell that the sleeves were growing even at that moment in time. I did let it sit and dry on top. And then I thought, oh my God, it's so big. So I had to go to bed because I had it on my bed. And then I liked doing that and having fans on it, so it kind of dries. And then I transfer it over to a drying rack, and I can just lay it on top of everything. But before I did that, I put it in the dryer for 3 minutes on low heat. I think that did help a lot, especially in the body, but not so much in the arms. It is very nice and warm. This is Lion Brand's Fisherman Wool in the color Oatmeal. It is a rusticy feel, and only right now, because I'm getting hot, do I feel it. At work, on that cold day that I wore it, it was really kind of nice. A little too big. It's a little too big, but it could fit other people. That's a possibility. I mean, not everyone wants to wear pretty flower buttons, but I think these look really nice. It adds like a little pop of color. It's really nice. I even used the pockets at work. I put some stuff in there, and I was like, oh, I'm so proud of these pockets. You can't really tell. I have my hand in it. Anyway, all right. So one other thing I did, and I do not have it with me because I already gave it away, but I'll put it on my thumbnail, or you'll see it on my thumbnail. So a coworker of mine, I'm not going to divulge too much, but she has a lot of health issues. And then in a Halloween time period, she accidentally sliced her hand while carving pumpkins. I don't know exactly how she did it, and I don't know which hand it is either, but she sliced her hand and she cut the tendons, and she's still in physical therapy. She's had surgery. It's been a big ordeal. Well, one of her sons has a lot of anxiety, and he had a piece of blanket about that much left from his baby blanket, and it was a specific type of yarn, and she couldn't really find it. And I had made another kind of blanket that she bought me the yarn. She's like, hey, can you make me it? But it was worsted weight, and it wasn't as thin as he likes it, and he didn't like that blanket, but her other son liked it. Kids. So she's been like trying to find the yarn, and then I said, I found the baby yarn that I had bought from Michael's back in 2021, and it had these colors. Do you just want me to make something, And she said, yeah, do that. So we kind of figured out like a 10 by 15 little blanket, just something he can hold on to, and gives him comfort. And so I said, okay. It ended up being so I did 12 inches across and 16 inches high, and then in double crochet. And then I did a 3 round border in single crochet, just so you had something to hold on to. And I gave it to her. She was so happy. I was like, I did it in within 2 days. So we talked about it at school. That night I started it, and the following day I finished it, and then I brought it to her. I think it was on a Friday. And I was like, I hope it works out. You know, I don't know. Will her son like it? The colors were green, like they're all soft, not pastel, but they're soft. So a green, a red, kind of like a bricky red, but you know, I wouldn't call it pink. It was more like a soft brick red, a light blue, a yellow, and a gray. And it's all variegated. It's by Loops and Thread, and it was called Baby Delight at the time, and it has a different name now because we looked it up online, and she's buying 8 more skeins, I believe, because she wants me to make 2 blankets out of it, like lap blankets. So it'll be 36 inches by 48 inches. And I said I would do it because I don't know if she's going to pay me. She wants to pay me, but I don't want to charge her. I told her, look, my intention always has been to help her. Okay, she's had a lot of issues with her health. She has her hand stuff. Her son has high anxiety. She's such a sweet woman, and sometimes you just want to help people. And if she does pay me, it'll be icing on the cake. But I don't want I don't want a lot of money from her at all. No, that's not the point. And you know, I will make them. I don't know if she needs them in a time frame, so I'll just work at it and get it done. Like I said, the picture of the finished object that I made for her is just a little, it ended up being 13 by 17 inches. And I'll put that on my thumbnail, or if I get real fancy, maybe I'll learn how to edit these. I'm not holding my breath right now. Okay, so those are my 2 finished objects. I'm looking back. So last weekend I was neglecting my housework because I was in a mood, and I needed to think because I had to do a lot of ripping out, and so I decided, well, I'm not going to rip out. I'm going to work on this. Now, I keep hearing people say that alpaca has a little prickle factor. Alpaca has a little prickle factor. I don't know, because alpaca doesn't have any guard hairs. But I put this on, and I was a little hot. I do need to make it a little bit longer. I was working on my cherry sweater. It seems like I was just working on this forever. I got about 1 inch completed, but there's a lot of stitches. So I did put it on. It fits well, because I thought, did I make it too big? Now I'm like questioning everything. Am I making this too big? This is fitting well. I will wear, I plan to wear something underneath it. I like wearing stuff underneath my sweaters. I just don't want my sweater on my skin for warmth, for comfort, for the ability to take something off if you get too hot. So there was a bit of a prickle factor, which I never really I never knew for my own personal self, but it was on my shoulders. Now, I don't know if I was just really hot at that moment in time. I also plan on, when I wet block this, I plan to wet block it and maybe use conditioner instead of wool soap, because that's supposed to add a little bit of smoothness to wool. Now this is the upcycle alpaca. I will say that Knit Picks branded this yarn as the stuff left over from their mill, and then they combined it and made it into this yarn. It has wool, no specific kind, just wool, not even a location. Wool, alpaca, and acrylic, all about 33% or so. Anyway, so far so good. I made a little bit of progress on this. I plan to soak it in some conditioner, and that should really, you know, soften things up, make things maybe a little happier instead of, I noticed even soaking it in lanolin. So maybe I'll just use that. Maybe I'll try that first. I know. I've been thinking about all this stuff and I keep jumping back and forth. Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm going to do the wool soap first. It has lanolin in it, so maybe that will help soften it. So I'm going to do that, but it's still not done. And I have a long ways to go. It's in the color Squirrel. Not much has been done, just around and around and around and around. I'm using size 5, US size 5 knitting needles. So it's sport weight yarn. It's taken its sweet time. All right, I have made progress on one thing. I have to, if you can see my cat, she's on my thing. Okay, so I have this little handy box near me at all times because I have lots of small projects in here that I can just put off to the side and work on them. Now, last night I discovered the thing I thought would never be done forever and ever and ever and ever is almost done. And I was so happy. Now, I tried them on. I always turn my sock, can you tell? I always turn my sock over because that's just what I like. So I'm going to pull it back up. So you go, well, it doesn't look done. No, but I'm at the decrease part. You have to stop about 2 inches before the finished length of the sock and you start your decreases. So I'm at the decreases on this one. I was so happy. I put it on my foot. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And then my other one needed a little bit more. So I worked on that real quick, tried it on again, and I got to that certain point that I like. And I'm like, excellent. So now I'm on the decrease. So my method is to work, hello Tula, she's such a friend. I work on one, complete the decreases, do the Kitchener stitch off the needles, and then I work on my second sock because I've tried ping-ponging back and forth and then I lose track of where I am. It's just easier to go 1, 1, and then that's that, right, Tallulah? And then I want to use these needles for the black socks I am making, and that's what I'm going to turn them as, the black socks. So I showed you how I started, and I'm using, for my socks at this present moment, I'm using US 2 double pointed needles. I always start out with US 2.5, and it's coming along. I haven't worked on this one as much, just a little bit, you know, but this morning, see, they were both like this, and a couple mornings in a row, the sun has been beautiful, where it's just shining in, and I don't even need to use my neck light. Today I had to use my neck light. Someone is trying to get into my bin, and I'm trying to stop her because she has been super naughty. Little side note, story as I go get my other sock, this morning I found a little skein of acrylic yarn all over the floor, and someone opened up a bin and dug into it. She is smart. I think the bin was just a little bit open and she was able to sniff it out because, you know, she's a cat. So this one I have been working on more. See? So it's about it's about double the size of the other. It's working really nice. Wonderful patterns yarn. I am so glad to be working on them. So chugging along on those two things. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to get the picture out first, is I'm making this sweater. I'm using a cotton poly yarn. It was a Joann's brand, and we all know what happened to Joann's. Whether you like Joann's or don't like Joann's, sometimes that was the only place in your area that had good quality fabric, yarn, art supplies, you name it, for a decent price. I'm not saying they were the best, but a decent price. They usually had sales. I usually shopped the yarn and the fabric and the notions. Sometimes I got coffee cups for $3. Anyway, I'm really sad because I could just travel 15 minutes, 20 minutes with lights, you know, hitting all the lights, and I would be at Joann's. Now, if I want to go shopping for like apparel fabric, yeah, you can buy stuff online, but I want to feel it. I want to look, I go, ooh, look at that. That's really pretty. But what if I don't like the feel of it? So I'm stocking up. So anyway, so I am making the back. I am making the 4 size, which is essentially an extra large. It is a 48 inch. So I'm hoping you can wash this in the washing machine, which I'm going to do. I will piece it all together. I will wash it in the washing machine. It says do not dry, but I might put it in for, 5 minutes and just shrink it up a little bit. It's coming along. The only lace pattern that you have on this back panel, can you see it? Can you see it? I don't even think you can see it. I can't see it in the viewfinder. But anyway, it is a 10 stitch repeat. I just follow it, and it is a 8 row repeat. So it's 10 stitches, 8 rows, you repeat them. I will sit down and do the full 8 row repeat. That way I don't lose track of where I am, because sometimes you think you're, I'll mark what row I'm on, or I'll move my little thing. But sometimes you get busy and you get distracted and you go do something because you had to or whatever. So it's coming along. The yarn is fine. I do not do more than 8 rows because my hands do get tired with the cotton yarn. But I am using my 4 square Knit Pick needles, and that does help a lot. And then they have the nice little pointy tips. Size 8, US size 8, or 5mm. So that's working. I've already used up 1 skein of yarn, so that's good. I'm really sad about Joann's. I mean, I just feel like so many things are being taken away right now, and it was just one more thing. Like it was like the oasis in dark times, whether personal or broad societal. It was a nice place to go where you could, think of the future by planning your projects. Like when I bought the Patton's black yarn, I also picked up some other colors for myself, and I had mentioned that I wish I had picked up the teal color. Now I really am mad that I didn't buy more at that time, because when I went there on Tuesday of this week, there was only 2 skeins of teal left, and I picked them up right then and there. There was no like, oh, should I get it? It was like, come to me, you're in my cart. which is happening all over the place because people are scared for so many reasons. So I had started, let me just double check. Yep, that's all I was going to say about that. So I decided to start my Finley sweater. I'll show you a picture of it if I get to the page. I really messed up on this. I'm just going to show you a picture first. How did you mess up? Okay, so every pattern is essentially the same in that size of yarn that you're using. And it all, you know, you do the neck, you do the short row shaping, and then you do a row of increases, and then you do the chart. And the chart is, I didn't even know she was there. And the chart was, well, you know, change and do whatever. So I thought I casted on 120 stitches, but then and that would be the 6th size. Okay, 6th size. And then I made my Emrys cardigan, and it was too big. And I thought, oh God, am I just making things way too big for myself? This isn't gonna work. Okay, I don't want to be drowning in my clothes. I want them to look good, make me feel good, because I put so much work into it. So I thought, okay, I did 120 stitches. I'm doing this the 5th size. Okay, I thought I was doing the 5th size. Let me just state that. I thought I was doing the 5th size. I was going to go down to the 4th size. But 120 stitches is the 6th size. So I thought I was doing the 5th size, and I was going to go down to the 4th size. So I thought, well, I have 120 stitches, and the 4th size is 116 stitches. So on that first row of increases, I won't do 4 increases, and then I'll have the same amount of stitches I need for the 4th size. Okay, the 4th size is a 44-inch bust, and the 5th size is a 48-inch bust. Okay, but I did not count right. Even though I thought I counted right, I did not count right. Even though I used stitch markers, I did not count right. By the time I actually did that first round of increases, minusing the 4 stitches, I did the math to figure out what I needed. I had actually casted on the 8th size. The 8th size, which is 128 stitches, because I minused 4 stitches, and I ended up with 192 stitches after that increase round. However, that doesn't make sense either. So I ended up with 192 stitches. I counted it 3 times. I used stitch markers. I made sure I had my neck light on. I spent so much time this week counting, ripping, figuring. So somehow I ended up with 192 stitches, which would have been the 8th size, which is technically, let me just look, because I don't even know. It's technically 60-inch bust. I'm not 60 inches. By no means. Okay. So I thought I've gone too far. There's no fixing this. So I ripped it apart. And I just took that little bit of yarn. I was gonna undo everything, like, and keep it on the skein. And you know what? I just took my piece and I just went, just cut it right off. what had happened is that I cast it on using circular needles. And through my counting, I screwed up. And I didn't count correctly. Fine, whatever. And then I thought, okay, well, I will cast on 120 stitches because that's the 5th size. And then I realized, after casting on 120 stitches, again, that is too big because that is the 6th size. The 6th size. And the 6th size is 52-inch bust. Now, come on. That's 10 inches of positive ease up here. That's unnecessary. So I thought, all right, fine. I will cast on the 4th size. Okay, so I was still under the, is this making any sense? I don't know if it is. I was under the impression that 120 stitches was the 5th size. So I was going to go down to the 4th size. I figured out all the math before I changed it all, because I didn't even realize I had cast it on the 8th size. So I started over and I cast it on 120 stitches because I thought I was casting on the, take that back. I cast it on 116 stitches because I thought I was casting on the 4th size. The 4th size. I'm casting on the 4th size. That is a 44-inch bust. And then I learned this from Young Folk Knits, Casey from Young Folk Knits. She has a different size for her yoke than for her lower body. I thought I'll do the same. On the last row of the chart, I will just increase to make it into the 5th size. Fine. So I cast it on 116 stitches. I started doing the 1x1 rib. So plus, this is a size 4. This is from my grandma's collection. It's a very old needle. I cast it on this and then transferred them over to a set of bamboo clover 16-inch circular needles. Started working on the 1x1 rib. Everything's fine. And I'm going, okay, this is fine. So then I decided, you know what? You need to look to see, to make sure that you needed to have 5 rows of ribbing before. Oh, yep, I do. And then I was just looking at my numbers, you know, the cast on numbers again, because I had put pencil marks underneath them, 116, 120, and I had gotten you know, the big pink eraser, and I'm like, I'm just gonna erase it. I don't want to mark this up too much. And then I realized I cast it on the 5th size, which is 116 stitches, which is a 48-inch bust. Now, I'm keeping it. I'm done figuring this out. I'm casting on that size, which is technically, if you look at I like to wear an extra large. So technically the 5th size is an extra large. So I'm keeping it. I am done messing around. I used a US size 4 needle for the collar and the short row shaping. And when I increased to 192 stitches, way down in the next area, you have to increase. Okay. God, I hope I do this right, because this is a lot of work and I was so mad. Anyway, I counted it. It's working because I started the color work. So the color work is fine. But you see, I only have 1 row of color work done. It's really hard to see. So the collar's here. This would be the back, and that's the front facing you. The facing is you. That's the color work. It's beautiful. So I was like, I did it all right, fine. I'm going to keep it at 48 inches. Fine, 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 fine. And then I do the first row of color work, and you do 5 gray, 1 blue, 5 gray, 1 blue, 5 gray, 1 blue. Get all the way to the end. I only have 4 gray. Well, where did I make the mistake? I'll just tink back. No big deal. So this is the end, and this is the beginning. And I made my mistake in the first repeat. So I tinked all the way back, and I did the whole thing over. It's fine now. I haven't touched it since. It was just like that day. I think it was like Sunday. It was insanity. I was like, are you kidding me? I've wasted all of this time. Fine. So I'm using a US size 5 for the color work because I've learned with my Lopi that I might pull a little bit too much. Also, I got gauge with this sweater using a US size 4, and I wrote it down, so let me just look. The gauge for the US size 4 for me was 24 inches, 24 stitches per 4 inches. No, no thank you. No thank you. No, no. And 32 rows. I don't really care about row gauges much. I mean, I don't know if it's that big of a deal, to be perfectly honest, especially when you're making something down and you put it on and you say, oh yeah, I mean, if you're doing in pieces, yes, that does matter. But if you have your measurements, I just don't find row gauges as important at this time in life. Fine. So a US, oh geez, no, Tallulah, no, 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 no. She's after my stuff. A US 4 is what I got gauged with, and that was 24 stitches per 4 inches. And I'm using a US size 5, which is a 22 stitches per 4 inches, and that has a 31 row per 4 inches. So my also thought is, I am using a size 5 on the cherry sweater, and it looks fine, okay? What if I negate some of the width of the bust circumference by using a larger needle? So I'm kind of thinking I'm just going to knit the rest of the body in a size 5 versus a 4. So now I'm going to put it away because it has driven me insane. It has driven me absolutely insane this week. Okay, enough of that. So I will figure it out. It'll be fine. Even if I do make it big, I can wear something underneath it and, you know, it'll be fine. I'm going to hide some of this stuff because someone we know is a sassy cat. Someone we know is lurking about behind me, and I don't want her. Now, I was going to make this other sweater. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to take out the yarn because it's in balls now because I had started the ribbing again. Is the sweater. It's a lace cardigan. You make the bottom all the way, and then you build up on the right side, the back, and the left side. And I was going to make it in, she's being naughty underneath me. I was going to make it in the 6th size. I'm not going to make it 51-inch bust, period. It'll drown me out again up here. So I'm making it in the 5th size, which is a 47-inch bust. It'll be better. I'm still debating because I ripped it all apart. I thought it's too big. It's going to be way too big. I think when I was looking at it, up here, they give you this little thing here, And I was looking at it, and yeah, it'll be 48, which is, if you go extra small, small, medium, large, it would be an extra large, which I like. So I will cast that on some other time. And then, and I'm not going to pull this out either because it's just that Patton's linen yarn that I had. And that, that was going to be too big. The tank top that I had in pieces, I thought to myself, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're not going to be able to figure this out. You cast it on way too many stitches. It's just going to be too big. Just stop. So I undid those two, and I will either make that pattern that I had shown last time, or the Sorry Nordland pattern, which I'm kind of leaning towards because it looks really nice. If I can find it really quick, I'll just show you the small picture in front. It's just the, what is it called? I'll show you a picture. 85. My cat is playing with my legs underneath here. It's this. Although I don't really want I-cord here, if I could maybe make it into like a band instead. So that's that. There's options. Oh, she's being naughty. And then I only did a little bit on my Sorry Nordland scarf. Literally nothing to write home about. So, because I was ripping out so many things. I was ripping, and I was ripping. Rip, 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 rip. So, one thing I did get to work on, hello little one, she's right underneath me, is that I started thinking, now am I making this too big? Everything, am I making this too big? Am I making this too big? Am I making this too big? So in the pictures, they show the people modeling the sweater with it down here. Even one lady has it down here. You know, like it's just, she's just wearing the sweater and it's all the way down. So I measured over and over and over. I had my daughter help me, and over and over and over. I do believe from here to where I want it to sit, which is about, okay, I'm sorry. From here to where I want it to sit, which is about here, is about 19 inches. So I'm going to go off of that. I've done all the increases, and I've stopped here because I just want to make sure that the other one is in the same spot before I go on to do the color work. So I put it off to the side. I am using a size US 10, or did I switch up already? No, I've already switched up to a higher size needle. This is a US 10.5. So that's another reason. I'm just going to wait till I get to that part. And I know that I was at US 10, the row below it. Okay, so that's fine. So I started my new sleeve. And I'm using a US 8 for the cuff, US 10 for the body of the sleeve, and US 10.5 for the color work part. So I got about this much done. Not a lot, but at least I know I'm doing it right. And I have all my markers in the other one. So that's good, you know. And this kind of sits out by my stuff because it's small enough where I can just like do a couple rounds and be done with it. All right. So I already talked about my cardigan and the lace cardigan. I ripped back. I ripped back on my Patton's, I think it's called Sweet Potato linen yarn tank that was not working out. Rip that back. And then the last thing I'm going to show, in what my cat wants the most, because she's right below my feet here, is I ripped this back as well. What is this round thing? This is the crochet couch I'm making. I'm making them a circular couch. Will will it all be for naught with them? Who knows? Maybe by the time I'm actually done with this, they'll mellow out. So it states in the pattern that you make like 15 rounds, and then you do a little bit for the 16th round, and then you stop, and then you crochet in the back loop, etc., etc. Anyway, my foam thingies are smaller than what the pattern is using. So I rip back to round 14. Oh God, no. Oh God, no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no, 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 no. She is having a field day. She's having a field day. So I ripped back to the round 14, skipped round 15 completely, and then I just kind of followed what it said for round 16, because you do 12 stitches and then you start crocheting in the back loop. And I was working on this last night, and I'm going to turn that over, and I had a smaller ball, and then I had this one. She's nuts. She has been stalking me. Do you see her coming? She has been stalking this. I had this like just sitting on the table next to me, because I was using the smaller ball first. And right when my attention is diverted for just a moment, she's like, ha! Broom. So I have to be very careful with her. She is not to be trusted. And once I think it's done, and like not a ball of yarn, my concern is my cat Anya, who you never see except for once in a while. She's sleeping up there. Her claws are like shredders. I mean, I've always had cats. They always scratch, even Tallulah, when she scratches stuff, it's like, oh, but Anya is like, like Freddy Krueger. It's just insane. As you can see, like, I pet her in the morning, and she just does this, and she just pierces you. Anyway, she has really strong claws. My concern is that she's going to be like kneading it and destroying the foam thing. So last night, as I was crocheting, I was thinking, well, maybe I should encase the foam in fabric before putting the crochet top over it. That way it would just give them like one less thing to grab out. Maybe the foam is like really enticing to her. I don't know. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of things to think about. And I was really upset about Joann's closing, because that's where I would get my patent sock yarn. Yeah, you can buy it online. Yeah, you can buy Amazon, and I'm not really happy with Amazon right now, for various reasons. But you could get the colors, and you didn't have to pay for shipping, and it was right there, and there was always like a 20% discount, and I was kind of kicking myself because I went there on Tuesday and bought yarn. I was kicking myself that I didn't get what I needed at the time. I should have seen the writing on the wall, so to speak. I should have seen what was coming down the pipeline, because as I was talking to a lady yesterday while at Joann's, I was talking to her, and I was like, she said to me that whenever she would come in, she noticed that the scissor aisle was not being restocked, and she should have sensed something was happening because they weren't restocking like they used to. And I said, oh yeah, I noticed that too. Like certain things they just would not restock. And part of it was like Patton's classic wool. They were getting rid of it last summer, and I'm still kind of kicking myself that I didn't buy more at that time, because it was on clearance, and you could have gotten it for like $5 a ball instead of $8 a ball. So I got the last 2 skeins of Patton's sock yarn on Tuesday. I was glad I had that, to be perfectly honest. Like, I was glad. I was glad I got the 2 last teal. Maybe other stores will close sooner and they will get more stuff here. I don't know for a fact or anything like that. I'm just hoping. I'm just hoping. So, like, they don't even have, all they have now left is essentially acrylic. Okay? And acrylic's not bad. It's not great. And I just realized I did not wear my microphone this time. Oh well. Say lovey. Part of life is learning to be prepared, and I did not prepare that well. But that's how I feel about Joann's. Like, why didn't I buy stuff when I could? You know, and just stock up. Because I always thought it would be there. But as we are learning the hard facts of reality as of late, you can't believe that things are going to be there the next time you go shopping. So I bought my yarn. I was going to buy fabric on Tuesday, and the line for the fabric cutting was so long. And I thought, nope, can't do it. I got to get home. My daughter's going to be coming home soon. I got to get to her. And then I just bought my stuff and left. And I was so depressed. I haven't been that sad in such a long time. I will state, and I don't want to give we've had a death in the family, and he was such a kind and gentle man, and it was cancer, and it just, like, all these things are just building up on each other, and I was so sad on Monday. I came home and I was just like so sad to see my refuse from the chaotic world where you can feel yarn and dream of the future going away. So sad that what we're dealing with is just asinine. I made chicken soup. That felt good. Boiling a chicken carcass made me feel good. Because it was doing something. It was doing something. So I have now a lot of chicken stock. So that felt good. And then the funeral, thankfully, was done by a live stream. So I rearranged my work schedule yesterday because I could. Not every week I could do this, but this week I could. And I rearranged my schedule, and I was able to see the funeral via live stream and and also, not at the same time, separate times, and also go back to Joann's, buy fabric, and stand in line for, you know, a good half hour or more. Chatted with a really nice lady. We talked about all kinds of stuff, made the time go faster. It was really nice. Just talking to her. She gave me some ideas about where to buy fabric, like in the Twin Cities. I don't really like driving in the Twin Cities. So I have enough for right now. I plan on going back to Joann's periodically and stocking up so I can make things that I want to wear. Because a lot of stuff I have just been like, oh, I'm going to buy it next summer. Because, you know, this reason or that reason, or I'm going to get it at Christmas for this reason or that reason, and then things change or whatever. So yeah, there's been a lot of loss lately, and I am very thankful that I have my crafts to keep me motivated, keep me looking at the future, because things change, for good, for bad. They change, and I could really use some good change lately because don't we all deserve a happy life? But there we go. Anyway, I mean, I'll work for my happy life. I'm not saying I won't work hard, because I like working hard. It gives me a lot of good feelings about working hard. I just don't want to do something the wrong size. then look back and go, why didn't you do it a size smaller? You're not that big. I mean, I'm short and I'm not, I don't have a 60-inch bust. So I'm learning. And I hope to wear my microphone the next time, because right now I'm just going to publish this as is if the watch back is good enough, because I have a lot to do. Anyway, I hope you had fun. I hope you didn't mind my ramble about sadness and Joanne's leaving. And I know there's other places. It just was like it was all in one, and it had good sales, and it had opportunities every once in a while. I remember, I don't remember when it was, but I wanted a ham, for ironing and for seams and stuff, and all of a sudden it went on flash sale. I said, Molly, let's go. And so we went to Joanne's, and I got the last one, and I was like, yay! Yeah. Anyway, it just feels like another community is being torn apart by losing another place of buying stuff. And yeah, we had Hancock Fabrics and we had Northwest Fabrics, and those were bought out by liquidators. So, and I don't want to go shopping at Hobby Lobby. I have reasons. Anyway, enough babbling. I hope you had fun watching. I hope you have a good day. I hope that you stay warm, stay cool, and always stay saucy. All right, take care. Bye for now.